All right. So let's go on to a subject that I'm very interested in. Uh, I love me some giant monsters. Let's talk about Godzilla versus King Kong. Alrighty. So this article on comicbook.com. I've been a fan of Godzilla movies since I was a little kid. You know, I at one point I had so many VHSs, and just the giant atomic dinosaur wrecking things, fighting other giant monsters from Earth, space, magic, whatever. Godzilla. He's kind of like one of my weird heroes as a kid, you know. But I grew up and came to understand the different variations of Godzilla. Sometimes he's a hero, sometimes he's evil, and sometimes he's an anti-hero, you could say. I think one of the lights here in the studio is burning out. Fantastic. I'll make this quick. I'll make this relatively quick then. Relatively quick. So the new Godzilla versus King Kong, which was announced like a couple years ago at this point, I believe. This movie was scheduled to come out in March, but a lot of people have been noticing lately, it's been coming up online that there hasn't been any promotional material. None at all. Not like, I mean, we have this image here, right? But we don't have like an official poster, images of the characters, a trailer. I mean, March is not too far off. We're less than, 4 months away now. And we still don't have a trailer or really any promotional materials, any toys, nothing. I haven't seen any toys, I don't think so. So that's got a lot of people curious. It's like, what's going on with this film? Well, a lot of people's suspicions have been confirmed. The movie is going to be moved back from March of 2020 to November of 2020, November 11th to be exact. Which isn't the first time the movie, the premiere date has been changed. It was originally supposed to come out in May of 2020, but then it got pushed forward to March, and now it's getting pushed all the way back. The article does not reveal what the reasons are. Nothing has been said why. But if I had to take a guess, Godzilla King of the Monsters, which was the latest American Godzilla movie that came out earlier this year, that was an interesting movie in the sense that it was one of those movies, and I see this coming up more and more, and maybe I'll discuss it at some point on the show. There's a big divide between critics and audiences. The audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, very high. Critic score, it was rotten. And I did review that movie. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. And I'm not claiming to be the biggest Godzilla fan in the world or the most Godzilla expert ever, but I've been watching Godzilla movies since I was 4 years old, so I know when I like a Godzilla movie and when I don't like it. I didn't like that movie, all right? All the characters were boring, two-dimensional. The special effects were pretty good. There's some pacing issues. Once again, the problem from the previous Godzilla movies where the camera keeps moving away from the monsters during the battle, especially with Godzilla, happened again. And here's the thing. That happens in all Godzilla movies where in the middle of the monster battle, they usually come back to what's going on with human characters. That's fine. But it cuts back in the most annoying ways. It's like, and that's the fact that in the first movie, we had the main character was kind of boring, wasn't it? Aaron Taylor Johnson, Kick-Ass, you know that guy, Kick-Ass or Quicksilver from Avengers: Age of Ultron. His character was just boring after Bryan Cranston, who played his father in the film. The relationship between the son and the father was interesting. The second you take out the father out of that equation, the character is just boring. And then King of the Monsters, all the characters are boring. I didn't give a damn about anybody. None of them. They were all just like. I think there's only one character that's actually useful just because if they weren't being boring or uninteresting or two-dimensional, they were just spouting exposition. And I get it. They were just doubling down on the action in this movie to try to make up for people's anger that there wasn't as much. And then there was way more monster action in the new film, but it didn't matter to me because I was so bored in between the action. And even during the action, they would cut back to these boring fucking characters. I didn't give a damn. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're pushing it back to do reshoots because of all the criticism the movie got. Once again, it seemed to please audiences, but I don't think the movie made as much money as they were hoping it would. And the fact that the poor reviews from critics didn't help at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing reshoots, making script changes, all that stuff. Because, this is a whole franchise that they want to do, right? Because so far, I think the only movie in this franchise I would say that I genuinely enjoyed was Kong Skull Island. Even though the two main heroes sucked, which was unfortunate because Tom Hiddleston was one of the main characters, and we all know he's a really good actor. The other was Brie Larson. I know a lot of people don't like her. And yeah, she's not handled her whole Captain Marvel thing that well. But she is a decent actress, you know. Thank God for Samuel L. Jackson and oh man, what's his name? Oh, I don't know. I can't remember, but it was a supporting cast that saved that film. Plus, the action with Kong was good. Kong looked great. I actually enjoyed that film. That film was a lot of fun. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that's the only good one out of the three movies in this monster universe has done, which is Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, and Godzilla King of the Monsters. Kong Skull Island is the only one I can say that I think is enjoyable. And we're because the first Godzilla movie was okay, King of the Monsters sucked, Kong Skull Island the only one that's doing well. So I don't think it's outside or ridiculous to think that the reason that they're pushing this back is because of the reviews the last movie got and the fact that it didn't make quite as much money as I'm sure they were hoping it would. Because they're banking on, I mean, these monster movies aren't, they aren't cheap. There aren't guys in rubber suited costumes, which I will always love that method because I'm always about practical effects. But the CGI is not cheap, ladies and gentlemen. These movies cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars, all right? And when after you take in the budget of the film and you take in all like the advertisements and the millions and tens of millions of dollars they do in promotion, these kind of movies, they need to make their money back in a big way. And they need to please critics because I know a lot of people out there don't trust critics. That's fine. But the more and more movies I watch, the more I tend to sympathize with some critics. Not all the time. But yeah, so I'm really hoping this movie's good. I'm hoping that come November, I review this movie, and I can tell you, this movie's awesome. Godzilla was great. King Kong was great. Millie Bobby Brown as a returning character. They made her a good character now. I enjoyed it. I hope I get to say that all year from now. I hope I do, because I love Godzilla, and I want him to be in a damn good American film. We haven't pulled it off yet. And don't get me wrong, the Toho's films, the Japanese studio that owns Godzilla, not every Japanese Godzilla movie has been good. Any decent, true Godzilla fan can tell you that they haven't scored every time. There's definitely films in the franchise a lot of people don't like. But as far as on the American side of it, damn, people. You would think after, the 1998 one, they'd be trying harder. But what the hell's going on with this franchise? It's Godzilla, the king of the monsters, the most famous kaiju of them all. He deserves some respect. All right? And now that you're bringing in King Kong into the mix, who's a cinematic American icon. I mean, the first King Kong movie is one of the most famous movies, ever from, back in the day. You got two iconic characters. Do them right. Make this happen. Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to see a full episode, I live stream every Thursday night on Facebook right after I see the movie, or you can tune in to the Revenge Online Radio Network every Friday morning at 9 a.m. If you enjoyed the show, please consider contributing to the Patreon, patreon.com/PO Vincent.